That should fix it. YouTubers can come back. It's weird that I'm having these issues and it's not my internet. It's just the different servers on my VPN. I thought I had found a very stable server and apparently I hadn't. It started not being stable. Stable sometimes and not stable other times. Texas is set to execute an innocent woman on Wednesday night. Urgent, we only have until April 27th to stop Texas from executing an innocent woman. Contact Greg Abbott. I'm going to send you guys the link in the chat right now. You guys would like to place a call to Abbott's office. Lissa Lucio asserted her innocence more than 100 times during interrogation. What evidence do they have to convict her and put her on death row? Her confession, that's all they have. The confession that she finally cracked and gave them after these abusive interrogation techniques. Ironically, and it might not be ironically, it might be because of this very case that John Oliver did a whole piece on the interrogation techniques of police this past week. When I was reading about this case, I was like, wait a minute, I just watched something on this. Oh yeah, it was John Oliver. Melissa Lucio is currently facing execution on April 27th for a tragic accident that's not a murder. Now, I'm assuming her ethnicity has something to do with one of the reasons why they're wanting to be so harsh to her. 2-year-old daughter Mariah died following a fall down the stairs while the family was in the process of moving. Police immediately took Miss Lucio into custody and began aggressively interrogating her using coercive techniques. Miss Lucio asserted her innocence over 100 times during the 5-hour interrogation, just hours after her daughter died. Just hours after her daughter had died. The police coerced and manipulated her until she was exhausted, and she eventually just told them what they wanted to hear, saying, "I guess I did it." Taken as a confession and along with false evidence presented at her trial, Ms. Lucio was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. 2 hours after her daughter died. I thought we were going to hear some of the interrogation. Oh, here we go. No, I am sorry. And there's the John Oliver piece. I thought I've seen some of the interrogation. I saw of it. Hold on here. See if we can dig it out real fast. Here is some of the film from that night.
First of all, I'm very sad that this child died. But when I first saw you in there, I knew something was wrong. You know something is wrong.
No, sir, I don't.
You know something is wrong.
No, sir, I don't.
If I bring you all those pictures, if I beat you half to death, like that little child was beat, I bet you'd die too.
Sir, I did not beat my daughter, sir.
No?
Not that cruel to my children.
What are those bruises on your little child?
Thing is that I got a mom. You can clearly see here. Doesn't know who did that. Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't cause her death.
No, sir, but you're gonna cause this woman's death, you piece of shit.
Basically, what they were doing is they were trying to make me admit that I was the one responsible for her fall. And I kept telling them that I hadn't hurt my daughter, and they were very vulgar, very, very rough, very persistent. They wanted me to admit to something that I was not capable of doing to my child. And the interrogation continued for
Skin color, money.
6-7 hours,
You're exactly right,
2
RB.
o'clock in the morning.
This is your chance to set it straight. Because right now it looks like capital murder. Right now it looks like you're a cold-blooded killer. Now, are you a cold-blooded killer?
No, I'm not.
Or were you a frustrated mother who just took it out on her?
We knew somebody did it. We're trying to find out who did it. If it wasn't you, I don't think somebody crept in there at the middle of the night and went up to your child and specifically singled her out so he could bite her on the back.
Melissa, look at me. It happens. Okay? We all make mistakes.
See, they're playing good cop, bad cop with her.
We all get upset.
I mean, there's an actual name for that technique, but that's basically
They
what it
just kept
is.
pointing fingers at me and threatening me and telling me that I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison and that I wasn't going to be able to see the rest of my children grow up and get married. And, you know, they just kept throwing so many words at me. And I just told them I'm responsible for Mariah's bruises. They wanted to hear something. I mean, I was not going to admit to causing her death because I wasn't responsible. In the end, they left the room, the detectives. There was 3 detectives and the ranger. They left the room and they left me in the interrogation room by myself. And I could hear them out in the hallway deciding what to charge me with. If they should charge me with injury to a child.
The fuck? They got a baby doll laying on the goddamn. Fuck! I can only imagine what they were trying to do with the baby doll.
Murder, or they couldn't decide.
Whatever you're ready.
Okay, so
You gonna hold it like that?
yeah, I can hold it like this.
Be better that way?
Yeah, because I guess we're gonna be
Yeah.
moving around. So.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Say when.
Go.
Melissa. Okay. Today's date is 2/18/2007. It is 3 a.m. We are here at the Harlingen Police Department. I am here with Melissa Lucio. My name is Victor Escalon with the Texas Rangers. I am also in this room is Officer Harlingen Police Detective Javier Villarreal. Lay her down and show me how you would spank her.
Oh my god.
Was it like, was it one time or was it several times?
Several times.
Show me how. But show me the same force you would use. With your right or left hand?
Right hand.
Would you be standing up or sitting down?
Both.
How would you do it when you're sitting down? Show me how you would do it. But, I mean, the way you actually did it. Just get it over with.
Oh, I just beat her real hard on her back.
Well, do it real hard like you would do it.
Just beat her hard.
Like the way you would do it.
That's the way we do it. I mean, I wouldn't pound on her.
But, well, do it.
Like that.
Oh my god.
No.
Because I
This is dumb.
Well, okay, you're doing it on yourself. This is. I mean, I was in
Fuck, I hate cops.
renting.
show me exactly how you would do it like that.
Yes.
Okay. And this is just what? Spanking?
Oh god, I'm sorry I didn't hit the content warning. Those were some graphic pictures we saw, like just
Use anything?
a fucking little bit of, but god damn.
How do you feel when you see these pictures?
I don't feel comfortable seeing those pictures, sir. I don't feel comfortable with any of this. What's going through your fucking head?
Maybe that hurt.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I've even if you have questions about her possible neglect as a parent, the woman shouldn't be put to death. And Texas is going to put her to death. Put her to death on Wednesday. If you feel so inclined, there is the link. You call Governor Greg Abbott's office and tell him to commute the death sentence at least. Jesus Christ. The article on the Innocence Project that we were reading from. And the Innocence Project is one of the charities that I like to support. Still so inclined to give a donation to an organization I firmly stand behind. Organizations that do legal work for poor people. Innocence Project, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU. Those are the funds that I tend to donate to, along with animals. Content warning on this one. On Friday afternoon, and set himself on fire in front of the Supreme Court and died after setting himself on fire in front of the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. on Friday night. Metropolitan Police said on Saturday. The court said to CBS News in a statement on Friday there were no other injuries. There did not appear to be a public safety concern. Police identified the man as 50-year-old Wynn Bruce of Boulder, Colorado, and said he died of his injuries after being airlifted to a hospital following the incident. Approximately 6:30 p.m., he went on to the plaza in front of the court building and set himself on fire, the court said. The court did not offer any specifics on the person or what their motivation may have been. Fort Police, U.S. Capitol Police, and the Metropolitan Police Department responded to the incident, the court said. A medical helicopter airlifted the person to a local hospital. You guys said that he was a climate activist. Then Alan Bruce, a climate activist, dies after setting himself on fire outside the U.S. Supreme Court. Climate activist has died 24 hours after setting himself on fire. Oh, it was also Earth Day. Yes, Buddhist monks are the ones that I've known to practice that form of protest the most. Colorado photojournalist Wynn Alan Bruce, 50, suffered critical injuries in the incident at 6:30 p.m. on Friday. He left a cryptic post on his Facebook page with a fire emoji and the date of his death. The post appears to have been edited a few days before his death. Dr. K. Critty, a Buddhist priest from Boulder, wrote on Twitter that Mr. Bruce had been planning to self-immolate for at least a year. The guy was my friend. He meditated with our Sangha. I think I'm mispronouncing the word, and I apologize. The act is not suicide. It's a deeply fearless act of compassion to bring attention to climate crisis. That's the thing that saddens me the most, is this man's death flew under the fucking radar because we're a fucking crazy country, and a man setting himself on fire on the steps of the Supreme Court didn't even get fucking front page coverage. Together info, but he had been planning it for at least 1 year. Hashtag Win Bruce, I am so moved. Pretty also shared a quote from a Buddhist monk. Thich Nhat Hanh. I butchered that. I don't even know what language those characters are in. Practice of Vietnamese setting themselves on fire in protest at the Vietnam War in the 1960s. To express will by burning oneself, therefore, is not to commit an act of destruction, but to perform an act of construction. That it, to suffer and die for the sake of one's people. Message read. Security did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Mr. Bruce appeared to belong to the Shambhala, a Buddhist organization based in Boulder, and frequently shared quotes from Buddhist teachers like Chogyam Trungpa. That's a funny joke, but I don't want to laugh at that right now, RP. I know it's still the Troll Patrol, but like, solace and respect to Ben Allen Bruce. I mean, that's conviction. I'm sorry, Sky Comet. Here you go. Please go read all about when Allen Bruce. I fucked it up that time. Here's the article. Total respect indeed. I'm sad that we live in a world where this kind of protest is necessary, and also I'm sad that we live in a world where this kind of protest flew under the radar. I think this would be a bigger story. I'm sure he thought it was going to be a bigger story. Hey, you can switch to YouTube. The video on demand is there. Also, feel free to read the article. The article is really good. Went into some detail, unlike the first article that we read from CBS. It just was very matter of fact about the incident. Didn't really get into motive behind, but it could have been an old article. I mean, he did it for a reason, and CBS News didn't even publish that reason. I had to go searching for the reason. That's an indictment of many things, especially our news media. Apparently, Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin believes that the upcoming January 6th hearings will blow the roof off of the House of Representatives. Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, vowed that the upcoming hearings on January 6th tell a story that will really blow the roof off the House. Kind of doubting that. Once again, it's going to fly under the radar. It's not going to get any coverage. We'll talk about it here. People that are plugged in to politics will know about it. The average person is not even going to penetrate. Raskin called the bid to overthrow the results of the 2020 election the most heinous and dastardly political offense ever organized by a president and his followers and his entourage in the history of the United States. We didn't need a fucking commission to even tell us that. We knew that at face value. He called it a coup. It was not a coup directed at the president, Raskin said Thursday in Washington at a Truth and Trauma talk hosted by Georgetown University Center on Faith and Justice. It was a coup directed by the president against the vice president and against the Congress. The House Select Committee investigating the insurrection will present evidence in hearings expected to begin in June that will demonstrate. I thought it was supposed to be April or May. Now we're going to June. They say they will demonstrate there was coordination among Donald Trump, his inner circle, and supporters who attacked the Capitol in an attempt to overturn the election, according to Raskin. No president has ever come close to doing what happened here in terms of trying to organize an inside coup to overthrow an election and bypass the constitutional order. President Then also use a violent insurrection made up of a domestic violent extremist groups, white nationalist, racist, fascist groups in order to support the coup. That will be the story that people hear. Exactly. Now, did you guys hear about the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, who was in line to be the Speaker of the House should the Republicans retake control of the House, which I assume that's the reason why he's still in Trump's good graces. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Apparently, earlier in the week, last week, he was asked if he had talked to Donald Trump about resigning, and
before we
he lied.
Into the extraordinary content of these tapes, we have to stop, I think, and not skip past the incredible fraud that's been perpetrated on this country at the direction of Kevin McCarthy, who saw Trump's conduct as egregious as I do, as the three of you have uncovered, Jackie, in your reporting, and Neil and Miles in your expert analysis. The fraud he's perpetrated on the country as the leader of the Republican Party is one of the most ghoulish things I've ever seen in politics, Neil.
Ghoulish.
Was that to me? Sorry.
Yes. I mean,
So yes, I completely agree with you, Nicole. I mean, McCarthy is probably sitting.
Yes, it was to you, Democratic Dinesh D'Souza.
Is going to say something sufficiently insane for people to try and forget about what he did this weekend, but I don't think it's going to work, because what this really shows is cowardice. It also shows some.
Okay, that was kind of racist of me. Like he does look a little like Dinesh D'Souza, but that was basically me implying that two Indian guys look alike. This dude clearly is far more. He's a law professor at Georgetown. He's clearly more qualified to speak on any matter than Dinesh D'Souza is. So my apologies to you, sir. What was your name? Neil Katal. I am sorry, Georgetown University law professor. My apologies to compare you to Dinesh D'Souza. It was the alliteration, Democratic Dinesh D'Souza. I thought that was funny. The alliteration hit me, but then I realized the racist connotation to what I just said, and I give you my full apologies. And also, Dinesh D'Souza is a gigantic piece of shit. I would be quite insulted if someone compared me to Dinesh D'Souza.
Taylor Greene is going to say something sufficiently insane for people to.
Let's go, Brandon! Thank you for being a freaking follower.
I don't think it's going to work, because what this really shows is cowardice. It also shows some complicity, because I think the revelations over the last weeks have really underscored that the Republican Party was far more in it when it comes to January 6th than one would hope. I mean, we've talked about Mike Lee, for example, someone I had a lot of respect for, and he looks like a secret coup plotter. And so this fraud that you're talking about on the country, McCarthy's definitely.
I think he might have been one of those people that were lined up for like the Barry Weiss, Brett Weinstein University. If it made you piss and come, like, hey, that's some good shit. Good on you. And there's some German girls that are really into that. German guys too, bro. Hell, there's some guys right here that are probably into that.
Only part of it. He wasn't the only one. And, you know, to me, it's just so sad, because it reflects.
I got to thinking about it. I'm like, I like piss and cum. What?
Politicians like McCarthy. Look, politicians in D.C. have always been ambitious, but it's the total destruction of principle, anarchy. What you called a backbone at the start of the show. I mean, you know, as they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But in a pinch, it looks like for McCarthy, the chance to be Speaker of the House is going to do the trick for him. And, you know, McCarthy was.
That's exactly what it is.
According to these tapes, before he was against it. And I guess what I just want to say is, and this may sound naive, but I came to Washington.
I am so sorry. I figured this was going to like play us the tapes. We were going to actually hear what the fuck was said. Maybe we'll get to it here. Thank you. 4 minutes in, Savannah Guthrie for playing. I think this is Savannah Guthrie for playing us the
Minority
audio.
Leader Kevin McCarthy spoke on the phone Thursday night about a newly released audio of McCarthy telling Republican leaders that Trump should resign in the wake of January 6th.
We're not even going to get the fucking audio. God damn
According
it.
to two people, Trump
Fuck you,
wasn't
MSNBC.
upset about McCarthy's remarks and was glad that the Republican leader didn't follow through, which Trump saw as a sign of his continued grip on the Republican Party. They spoke of the private conversation anonymously. I mean, that is almost more ominous than anything. Trump knows that McCarthy knows what he did, but Trump knows.
Trump knows that McCarthy knows that Trump knows. Weed! Oh, it's Nicole Wallace.
Into the U.S. Capitol riots continues. An explosive audio clip has now come to light. Now, shortly after the violence that broke out, the House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy reportedly told his fellow GOP lawmakers, that is the Grand Old Party,
Curious, sir. Good evening.
President Donald Trump to resign at once.
Org.
This is according to an
Foxasino.
audio posted by the New York Times, and that was later also aired on one of the American channels. Listening to what's being said here.
Are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking
Of course not.
with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence parting, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
Now, the audio was
Of course he wouldn't. Of course he wouldn't. Apparently McCarthy was warned days before that January 6th could be violent.
New evidence from the January 6th committee revealed.
Oh, I'm sorry, that Mark Meadows was warned. This is the White House Chief of Staff we're now turning
There could be
to.
violence that day. And Trump's former Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, pushed forward with the rally anyway. CNN Capitol Hill reporter Melanie Zanona joins me now live. Melanie, so the committee here, it wants a judge to throw out a lawsuit through all this that Meadows has against them. What's the status of that? And what are the details from these new revelations?
That's right. Mark Meadows has refused to comply with a subpoena to appear before the Select Committee. And so they released a trove of damning new details last night in a court file.
This CNN film here, Navalny. I don't know if that is about Alexei Navalny, the Russian dissident who has tried to run for president against Putin and keeps getting jailed and poisoned because of it. If it is, that might be worth a watch. Just say I saw the advertising here.
Filing to show the courts exactly why they want Meadows to testify. And among those new revelations, an aide to Mark Meadows, Cassidy Hutchinson, testified that Mark Meadows was indeed told that January 6th had the potential to turn violent, and yet he pressed ahead with both the rally and the efforts to overturn the election on the floors of Congress anyway. She also testified that she overheard the White House counsel's office saying that a scheme to use an alternate slate of electors was not legally sound. And she also testified just how involved Republican lawmakers were in the effort to subvert the election. In fact, Congressman Scott Perry of Pennsylvania was frantically texting Mark Meadows the day after Christmas about this plot to install a loyalist in DOJ leadership. That is Jeffrey Clark. They also wanted to give Jeffrey Clark a deputy underneath him. And I want to read for you some of those text messages, which were revealed for the first time last night. On December 26th,
Yeah, crab rave.
Perry texted,
Ida, welcome. Good
as
evening.
time continues to count down. 11 days to 1/6 and 25 days to inauguration. We got to get going. And then again on December 26th, Perry texted, Mark, you should call Jeff. I just got off the phone with him and he explained to me why the principal deputy won't work, especially with the FBI. They will view it as not having the authority to enforce what needs to be done. Now, it's worth noting here that the Select Committee has also asked Scott Perry to testify before the committee. He too has refused.
We're fucked as a country if some of these fuckers don't go to jail.
Not yet issued
Preferably all of them.
for Scott Perry or any other Republican lawmakers to date. Jim.
Melanie Zanona, the revelations, just remarkable. Thanks so much.
Indeed. Trump is still on good terms with McCarthy, though. Apparently, they talked after the whole revelations of the audio thing came out. Trump says McCarthy's relationship is not damaged. Former President Donald Trump said on Friday that his relationship with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy remains good after a recording emerged of Mr. McCarthy telling other top GOP lawmakers that he would advise Mr. Trump to resign. So, Trump gave an interview to the Wall Street Journal from Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he wasn't pleased to learn of Mr. McCarthy's comments in the House leadership call, but he said the California Republican ultimately never advised him to quit. Advised him to quit. Who's Jake? Jaking at? What? I don't know what's going on. Let's talk about Trump here. He gave an interview to Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, this is the trailer for the interview. You guys have probably all seen it. Wait a minute, you think Trump is still the president? What? You know, that was kind of funny when you guys would say that back in 2018. And, well, he's still your president. But he's not the president anymore. Oh, you renamed Curiouser. The storm is coming. Let's go, Brandon. Do you want to talk to us? Do you want to get on the phone and tell us all about the storm? We'd love to hear it. 917-830-4359, or you can hop in the Discord. If you've tried to call, I haven't had the phone lines open. I keep forgetting to do that. On the Freak Show, she renamed everybody Curiouser, so you've got a new nickname. You're Jake now. My apologies. Man, someone really wanted to talk to me on Wednesday, but I wasn't taking call. I wasn't taking calls. But I am now, so let's go, Brandon, please. Would you like to give us a ringy ding? Hannah. Or would you like to hop in the Discord and talk to us? Would you like to air your grievances? Tell us all about the storm that's getting ready to come. We'd love to hear about it. We would love to hear about the storm. Okay, so the Trump interview apparently airs tomorrow and Tuesday. They're going to air it in 2 parts. So this is the trailer for the Trump interview that's coming at us tomorrow.
Piers, I'm ready.
A former president in denial.
I'll be completely straight with you to your face. I think I'm a very honest man. Much more honest than you, actually. Really? Yeah. It was a free and fair election. You lost. Only a fool.
So in the trailer, Trump says, I'm much more honest than you. This is a deceptively edited trailer. Piers Morgan was indeed the one who was being dishonest with this trailer. Wow.
You think I'm a fool? I do now, yeah.
With
Excuse me.
respect.
Okay, with respect, you haven't produced the hard evidence. Excuse me.
The most explosive interview of the year.
I don't think you're real.
I realize
just
I'm not like
very dishonest. Let's finish up the interview.
Morgan versus
Turn
Trump.
the camera off. Very dishonest.
Only on Talk TV.
So the claim is that the trailer made it look like Trump walked out. The Trump team is very upset about this. I can't play the Trump team released the audio that proved that they actually...
So I feel like you're stupid people now running our country. The world is going to be blown to pieces.
Piers, is that the last question? You've done last question 4 times now, so I feel like you're lying at this point.
I'm not lying. I just haven't asked you about that. Very deceptive.
You said last question 4 times.
I saw it. This was a 20-minute interview. I think it's fine. It's fine.
I haven't asked about
fantastic in your opinion.
I wanted to end with the hole-in-one. I just haven't asked about the hole-in-one. Do you want to?
Go ahead.
Go ahead and ask about my hole-in-one.
That is true.
Did you do that?
Probably happened. Probably happened because they own the club. I'm sure it happened.
So there you are. This is the end of the interview. They're getting ready to wrap up. You heard Trump's handler say you've asked last question 4 times now. And then Piers is talking to him about his hole-in-one and sucking his dick and laughing at him. Like they're good buddies. Piers and Trump like each other probably.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
That was a great interview. Thank you very much.
That was a great interview. So it's not the head-to-head that Piers Morgan made it out to be. Piers Morgan's new TV show is set to kick off with his already high-profile spat with one-term President Donald Trump. In the contentious interview, Mr. Morgan confronts the former president about his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. In the trailer for the interview, it appears that Mr. Trump stormed off the set, although in a recording given to NBC by Mr. Trump's spokesperson, the men thanked each other and laughed. The interview was recorded for Rupert Murdoch's Talk TV channel, which is launching in the UK on Monday, April the 25th. Congratulations, Warlord. You got a new channel to watch. Interview is set to air at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which means that it will have aired by the time that we come on tomorrow night. Do you guys want to watch the Trump interview? Now, knowing that they're laughing and blowing each other off, like, do you guys really want to watch it? I'll leave it up to you guys. If you want to watch it tomorrow night, we'll watch, like, it's probably like 10 or 15 minutes of it, because I think the whole interview is only 25, 30. Splitting it in two. Yeah. It will now be aired over 2 days. Over 2 days to make sure you milk as much ratings as you can out of it. So I don't want to give that bastard any more attention. What is warranted. But if you guys want to watch Trump versus Piers Morgan, we'll watch that. English Trump versus Trump. That is a great description. The Utah Democratic Party has announced they will not be fielding a candidate. They are going to back Evan McMullin, who challenged Trump in Utah alone for those electoral votes. He thought he might be able to take those votes away from Trump in Utah, and it was like a 10-point, 15-point loss, but like he did come closer than one might think of taking the vote away from Trump in Utah because Trump is that unpopular. So now they're talking about Evan McMullin running for Senate against Mike Lee. The Democratic Party's like, hey, we hate Mike Lee. We'll back you if you do that. Run as an independent. Probably a smart move.
History was made at the Utah Democratic Party convention today.
Fox 13 News reporter Sarah Murphy shows us how Utah Democrats chose not to nominate a Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate.
Good morning, Utah Democrats. How are you? Cheers rang loud after Utah Democrats reached a decision at today's Utah Democratic Party convention
to nominate the uncontested Democratic candidate Cale Weston. Received 594 votes. Option 2, to join Evan McMullin's independent coalition to beat Mike Lee instead of nominating a candidate for U.S. Senate. Received 782 votes.
For the first time in Utah history, Utah Democratic Party decided to not nominate a candidate for U.S. Senate. Instead, they voted to join candidate Evan McMullin's independent coalition. They say it's their best chance to beat Republican Senator Mike Lee.
I feel good. I know that most Utahns are ready to make a change in the Senate seat. And so I
Evan McMullin would be a million times better than Mike Lee, so bring it on.
That uncontested Democratic candidate deserves our consideration. The decision wasn't an easy one.
I think that democracy sometimes can be loud and unpredictable, but I do think this process was really important for our party.
I'm here, people are heading out, the convention just wrapped up, and you saw that when the results were announced, people were pretty excited.
some delegates' concerns with McMullen?
I've noticed that depending on the caucus, depending on who he's talked to, he's either the most liberal person I've ever met or he is the most right-wing conservative person I've ever met. So where does he stand on the issues?
He's probably pretty like Mitt
But others
Romney-ish.
say it's a welcome change.
We've just got to continue to build this coalition of Utahns.
Sarah Murphy, Fox 13 News, Utah.
But like, have you heard about Mike Lee though? Mike Lee's pretty shit. I'm all about being strategic. Now, there is a representative in Georgia, and she is having her candidacy challenged because of her participation in the insurrection. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And boy, this happened on Friday. I should have streamed this live. We missed out. This was a hell of a lot of fun. We're gonna watch a good little chunk of it here. I got two different clips. Coming up about like 15-20 minutes worth of content. This is where she is asked about calling Nancy Pelosi a traitor. Remember, she is under oath. So if they can present evidence that she lied, she will perjure herself and open herself up to further legal liability. And also, I'm sure that probably wouldn't be pretty good for her case of continuing on the ballot. Once again, this is a contesting her candidacy due to participating in an insurrection.
Your disagreements with Speaker Pelosi, isn't that right?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You've had political disagreements with her. You don't agree with some of the things she's done in her career, right?
Politically speaking, that would be correct.
Right. You don't agree with a lot of things she's done, right?
Politically speaking, that would be correct.
In fact, you think that Speaker Pelosi is a traitor to the country, right?
I'm not answering that question. It's speculation. It's hypothetical.
You've said that, haven't you?
The smile on her face, she knows she's caught.
You, Ms. Green, that she's a traitor to the country.
No, I haven't said that.
Okay. Put up Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, please.
Oh, no, wait. Hold on. I believe by not upholding the securing the border, that violates her oath of office.
Fair enough. I'm not interested in her oath of office. I'm interested in that you said that she's a traitor to our country, right?
I object, Your Honor. She is not. This is.
I don't see the relevance of that, Mr. Shelley. Next.
Your Honor, can we give Mr. Bopp a standing objection on the First Amendment grounds?
No.
Because this is an effort to interrupt my examination of the witness. I am attempting to establish the witness's desire to engage in insurrection during the period January 3rd to January 6th. Now, it's true that some of the things that she said are relevant even though they occurred before January.
I should have carried it live. I didn't know it was going to be this fucking good.
She said.
There is First Amendment objection.
We don't agree.
Well, fine, but I get to make my objection.
You can make the objection. You can have a standing objection.
I don't want a standing objection.
Because he wants to interrupt my flow, Your Honor. That's not appropriate.
I don't object to everything.
Okay.
Okay. I have specific.
Amnestic, welcome.
I object to, and I
Did she do any prep, Moscasino? Like, you would think.
5 now.
She is arrogant.
Okay.
So I'm placing before you what we pre-marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, which is an article that appeared in CNN on January 26th, 2021.
A hard copy of this available?
Should be in the book.
The judge needs it printed out. Old Papaw over there.
We have one for her.
Needs your web article printed out.
You can't read stuff like this on the screen.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. You may.
I think Let's Go Brandon is. I think they're like. I think they're trolling us. I don't think they believe that shit.
Ms. Wells.
I think they're purposely misspelling shit. Love you, homie. Let's Go Brandon is cool. And if this is your first time ever on my stream, it's a good thing. It's a good time for me to illustrate that right wingers are indeed morons. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got this dude talking about the insurrection in the chat.
1 second.
Glad to have you back. Let's go, Brandon. We may be getting to the end of this. No, we still got a little bit left. Our next clip is her advocating violence. Have you ever advocated violence against your political opponents? There goes one Q anus.
Ms. Green, I want to direct your attention to the bottom of the 4th page of the exhibit. This is a paragraph that starts out, "She's a traitor to our country." Do you see that?
I object, Your Honor. What possible relevance could it be that they?
Because you just asked her if she ever said Pelosi was a traitor.
Is commonly used.
Your Honor, this is an argument.
Okay, next.
Thank you. I just want to ask a narrow question, Representative Green. Did you say, referring to Speaker Pelosi, she's a traitor to our country, she's guilty of treason, she took an oath to protect the American citizens?
I got Madison Cawthorn lingerie photos after this. You sure you don't want to stay
That's
for
what
it?
treason is. And our law representatives and senators can be kicked out and no longer serve in our government. And it's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason. Did you say those words?
I said, this is what I was telling you, is she doesn't uphold our laws.
It's a
She
simple
allows
yes or no
illegal-
question, ma'am.
I mean,
Did you
she-
say those
Answer
words?
without being instructed by him to say yes or no.
I don't agree, Your Honor. This is cross-examination. She's
So
entitled
what?
to an answer to my question, not a speech.
Did you say these words?
America is a thing. She hates the entire
According
Eastern
to
Hemisphere
Sam,
landmass.
I don't
Do you
remember.
recall saying?
I don't
Western
recall
Hemisphere
saying all of
landmass.
this, but I do recall having said this about I totally disagree with the border issues.
Okay,
And I
ask and
believe-
answer. Next question.
Okay.
I mean, are we the Eastern? I don't fucking know. I'm used to looking at a world map that has us on the left. I don't know what fucking hemisphere we're in. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene being asked about advocating violence against her political opponents.
And Representative Green, you have advocated the use of physical violence against people you disagree with politically, right?
I object without context.
I object. I bet you do.
Go ahead. What's the question again, Mr.
You've advocated the use of physical violence against people that you disagree with politically.
That's a question.
Yes.
Is that true?
I don't think so. I don't know how to answer that.
Next question.
Not Julia.
Have a look at what we've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 5.
P5.
P5.
That's the same one.
Same one.
Correct me. Okay, thank you. You've got a copy of this, Representative.
I am against violence in almost all instances. I always tell the kids, remember kids, need to shoot up drugs, not schools. Just saying. I'm not an advocate of violence. I need to fix that so it doesn't flash the screen black. Honestly, don't know why it does it. I don't know how I can fix it, to be honest.
Oh, is it the
Yes,
same
the
one?
same.
Okay.
And
you're in the American hemisphere.
let me ask a foundational question. You understand that
I like it.
on social media posts like Facebook and Twitter, one of the things, well, I guess on Facebook, one of the things you can do is you can like someone's post, right?
You can like people's.
Did we cancel the dick vein? Is that a thing?
Like someone's post, that's a way of signifying that you agree with or admire or think it's correct, that the post is correct, right?
Don't forget to like this video wherever you're watching at right now.
Well, I'm asking you. Isn't it true that when you personally, Ms. Green, like someone's post, you're signifying
Like this video is an endorsement. The Dick Vane got canceled? I was not aware of this.
So it's true, though, that you liked a post that suggested that...
Yeah, that's a great question. Specifically the Snickers Dick Vane or all candied Dick Vanes?
Remove her as Speaker of the House, then impeachment, right?
Now, you're using a CNN article, which CNN has lied about me multiple times, and you're using a CNN article.
I'm asking you to answer my question. Did you like a post that said it's quicker, that a bullet to the head would be a quicker way to remove Nancy Pelosi from the role of Speaker?
I have had many people manage my social media account over the years. I have no idea who liked that.
Oh, bullshit.
Are you testifying under oath it wasn't you? Just want to be clear on that.
I am testifying. I have no idea who liked that comment.
Fair enough. It could have been you. Right?
I am telling you, I do not know.
She's answered the question. Go ahead. Next question.
I'm guessing she runs her own social media. I don't think she has a guy.
Green, that one of the places inside the United States Capitol building that was invaded by people who were doing violence was Miss Pelosi's office, right?
I was inside the chamber during on January 6th, so I do not know all the places that those people.
That's funny.
I only know where I was.
Let's go. Brandon voted for Sarah Palin in 2016.
More than a year since these events occurred, you have not become aware that one of the offices that was invaded by people who were illegally in the Capitol was Nancy Pelosi's office?
I've seen that on the news.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. I haven't investigated all of that.
I will say, if the judge does seem partial to her, then that's a good thing because she is the defendant. Judges should be partial towards the defendant, I think.
Some of my questions that there was a demonstration that was being planned for January 6, 2021, called the March for Trump, right?
I'd vote for Satan.
We talked about it on one of my Twitter posts.
Right. And that demonstration was being organized in part by an organization called Women for America, right?
That is good. Liking the post is weak-ass evidence.
Ms. Wells, can you pull up?
But it was a really violent threat.
I'm sorry, which one, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, 2D, Your Honor.
D or B?
D.
B is in board.
That was the thing about, like, the quickest way to take out the speaker would be a bullet. Just to clarify on Twitch and YouTube, that was me quoting the quote from the proceedings. I like Satan too.
I placed in front of you.
Give him an amen. Amen.
It's been pre-marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2D.
I like satin as well. My sheets on my bed are satin. I took the flannel sheets off and put the satin sheets on.
Ms. Green, is you can retweet or send out again somebody else's tweet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God, who is she
this
retweeted?
2D, which I placed in front of you. You are retweeting a tweet sent by Kylie Jane Kremer on December 19th, 2020, right?
I don't know.
Well, at least it wasn't a Kardashian.
Well, if you look carefully, it says Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's an American flag, and it says retweeted. As
I don't know if I retweeted it.
You don't recall one way or the other.
I don't recall.
Chickpea flour, apple cider vinegars. This looks amazing.
That would have been done with your permission, right?
I don't recall retweeting it.
That's not my question. You don't deny that Kylie Jane Kremer's message was retweeted from your account in the form set forth as Plaintiff's 2D on December 20th, 2012.
Well, let's be clear. Fuck Disney as well, especially like their handling of intellectual property. Mickey Mouse should be in the public domain. Winnie the Pooh should be in the public domain. By the way, like, you guys know that, right? Like, you can draw Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh itself is in the public domain, but you can't draw Winnie the Pooh as you know Winnie the Pooh. That's a Disney character. Like, you can't put the red shirt with the no bottoms and shit holding a honey pot. That's a Disney fucking character, and they'll sue your ass. But you can go back to, like, the old school fairy tale Pooh. Like, I don't think he has a shirt on or some shit. You can draw that Pooh. But, like, fucking Disney is just a hard ass because, like, Mickey should be public domain. Mickey should be public domain. Oh, yeah. If it was communist pro LGBTQA plus, that would be different. That would be a big difference. I try to educate the right-wingers on this. There's a difference between these corporations marketing to the vast majority of people who are indeed progressive, outward-facing, and their policies like Disney, which is very regressive when it comes to tax policy, when it comes to worker wages, when it comes to fucking employee benefits, when it comes to intellectual property. Winnie the Pooh turned my dog gay too. Like, there's a lot of problems with Disney. However, like, you know, in terms of this particular fight with Ron DeSantis, you know, I would be all, because that's one of the things is, like, the right wingers are turning around like, oh, now the left, like, they don't want to raise taxes on billionaires. Well, that's not what you're doing. You're raising taxes on Floridians. You're not actually raising taxes on the Disney Corporation. That I would be in favor of. You're fucking over the people of Florida in order to try to teach Disney a lesson. But we're gonna get into that here in a little bit. Well, I've got a whole bunch of shit. Like, it's a woke world after all. You gotta see this stupid fucking video.
You don't deny that, do you?
This is what your picture has, this paper has. I don't have this Twitter account anymore.
It's a picture book.
I don't remember retweeting this.
Okay. But you do remember that there was this thing called the March for Trump. It was going to be on January 6th, right?
Yes.
And that Women for America were one of the organizers, right?
I don't remember, but that's what this says.
Okay. And one of the other hashtags for the demonstrations that were planned on January 6th, 2021 in Washington, D.C. Was a hashtag Stop the Steal. Hashtag Stop the Steal, right?
Stop, yes.
Yes. And another hashtag that got used at the time was, a website that was being used to organize people to come to Washington was something called wildprotest.com, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's have a look at PX30.
Another site they used was farmersonly.com. They organized the insurrection.
Shelley,
PX33.
X? PX?
I call it PX. P33, Your Honor.
P33. Oh, I got you. Sorry.
Her hair looks nice. I will give her a compliment. He is not a very smart person.
I placed before you, Ms. Green, a document that was marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit or Petitioner's Exhibit 33. I'm just going to ask a couple questions about it. Does this refresh your recollection that there was a website known as wildprotest.com that was
wildprotest.com
encouraging people
wildprotest.com?
I don't remember the website, but I'm seeing it here on your paper.
Okay. And
ma'am, I'm assuming you're being asked about it because you shared out the details of it.
Describe what he thought was going to happen on January 6th, right?
Weed!
Wild is also a term that high schoolers use when they talk about spring break.
Fair enough. But whatever the title of the demonstration or the name or the hashtag that was used, you would agree that you were aware in after the election and before January 6th that people were being asked to come to D.C. for a large demonstration to object to the certification of Joe Biden as President of the United States, right?
I was aware people were coming to support our objection in Congress, and on January 6th,
Ooh, smoke cigarettes indoors. Ooh.
When did you first become aware that there were going to be large demonstrations in D.C. on the 6th?
I don't recall.
Did you consider at any point participating in any of those demonstrations?
I assume they knew before Christmas, right?
Calendar, but then I never went. We were too busy. We were, looking at all the evidence and preparing for our debates and preparing to object.
And who put it on your calendar?
I don't know.
Somebody on your staff, I take it?
I have no idea.
Well, wasn't a complete stranger, right? It was somebody from your congressional staff, right?
Probably so, but I have no idea.
And as you sit here, can you tell us why it is that
she don't know much of nothing, does she?
An appearance for you at that demonstration was placed on your calendar?
Can you rephrase that question?
Sure. How did it come to pass that it was put on your calendar that you were going to appear at a demonstration? I understand you said you were too busy.
I don't know. I was so busy just preparing to object. I don't know.
I was so busy being a traitor to this country. I can't answer your questions about being a traitor to this country.
I don't think so. I was always preparing to object. We were very busy.
Well, have a look at what we've marked as number 33. And if you go about 3 pages in at the bottom of that page and then over to the next page, it says invited speakers and featured guests, right?
She's certainly not a patriot. She may not be a traitor all the way, but she's certainly a moron.
This website, I'm sorry, I can't answer
Okay. Well,
anything about it.
Well, you can answer that that's your name and face, right?
Traitor is a very strong word. What is the actual definition?
That is my name and face, but I don't run that website. I have no idea who does.
My question to you, Representative Green, is did you or someone under your...
I don't know. It's a pretty open-ended. A person who betrays a friend, country, principle, etc. More concise definition. One who betrays another's trust or is false to an obligation or duty. One who commits treason. See, that's... Did she commit treason? Treason has a much, much higher standard. By the first definition of traitor, she certainly is a traitor. The crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. She's guilty of treason. Like, yeah, like those words describe her. She's a traitor.
Your authority at your congressional office authorize you to be placed as a speaker or guest of the wild protest demonstration.
I get many invitations as a member of Congress to many events and all kinds of speakers.
Including white nationalist events.
Those go on my calendar.
We know all about your invites, ma'am.
Whether I attend or not.
So would it be fair to say, Ms. Green, that through your office you authorized your name and your likeness to be associated with the wildprotest.com demonstration?
No, you cannot say that or assume that. That would be whoever organized this.
Well, let's talk about that. Going back to 33.
Who did organize it?
You know Ali.
Another Ali Alexander production?
I don't really know him, no.
When you say you don't really know him, you've met him, right?
I've seen him before, but I don't know him.
Yeah, how many times have you been in his physical presence to your knowledge?
I cannot even guess. Hardly any.
10? 20?
No.
Have you shaken his hand?
I've shaken his hand before, yes. I
have
shake hands with pretty much everyone I meet.
Lots of people, right? And he's a friend of yours, right?
No.
Okay. We'll come back to that. I
think they got evidence of that as well.
Did you discuss with Mr. Alexander the idea of you coming to appear at a demonstration on January 6th?
By the way, I didn't hear who he said. I was talking over it, but I already knew it was Ali Alexander.
Recall that now.
You're not.
I was guessing, but like I knew it.
I do not recall that now.
Well, did you discuss with anybody attending the wild protest demonstration that was?
I only know him because of producer Dave and Echoplex.
Talking about attending.
So we're on the conspiracy side of things. Wild fucking hearing. This is just paper flipping ASMR. Well, I got something for you. This might be a little more interesting for you. United States Representative Madison Cawthorn responds to lingerie photos. What lingerie photos, you might say? What lingerie photos? Perhaps you haven't seen the lingerie photos. It would be these lingerie photos. Madison Cawthorn, apparently he was on a cruise. I'm assuming these young ladies these young ladies were allowed by him to like dress him up and shit. I've done it before. Women have been like, oh, let me put clothes on you. Let me paint your nails. Let me do this to your hair. Blah, blah. Like, sure. I'm down. Okay. We can get lingerie together. All right. Cawthorn spoke to a crowd at the Trump rally in Selma, and apparently he had a lot to say about the lingerie photos.
We have a geriatric despot who sits in the Oval Office. My friends, what's going on?
Geriatric despot. Now, you can call him geriatric. That is a fair fucking critique of the man, but despot? Are you serious, you fucking piece of shit?
What's going on in our country?
The hoops do look good on him. The
We're
bigger the
facing
better,
dark
the bigger
times,
the
I
better,
know.
the bigger the better.
That many of you recognize that we're facing dark times, but you also realize that America's greatest comebacks happen when things seem the hardest. The American spirit, when it is pushed against, is when we come out and fight the hardest. And my friends, when I start seeing what's going on in our nation, when I see how quickly our country has changed, I think the adage that best describes this time in history is that hard times create strong men. And
hard times, Daddy.
But those good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. And you see what's going on in our nation right now when we have weak leadership, how quickly things have changed. And my friend,
Hard times. Hard times, you say.
Here is the American dream. That weight got what I wanted. Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair.
No, you don't, Dusty.
No honor. There is no honor among thieves in the first place. He put...
Easy calling the four horsemen thieves.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when...
Damn right, hard times. You don't know shit about hard times, Cawthorn. Dusty tell you about some fucking hard times.
Friends, I know about how quickly things can change. 8 years ago, I was in a car with my best friend. We were driving in Florida, and I was asleep in the passenger seat. he fell asleep behind the wheel. We ran into a concrete wall at 70 miles an hour.
Hey, been gluck, 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 gluck.
At that point, my friends, I had less than a 1% chance to be able to live. I was destined to never stand again. I know how quickly things can change. We are now seeing our energy independence ripped away from us. We're seeing our greatness ripped away from us. We're seeing just how bad our country can be. We're seeing gas at $5 up to $7 a gallon. My friends, this country can change very quickly. And it may
Why is that, Madison?
that it's impossible to change
The price per barrel has come down. Why is Exxon still gouging us? Oh, he's doing his little standy thing. This is incredibly ableist when he does this shit.
But my friends, God spared my life. He has given me the strength to stand before you today, so do not lecture me on what is impossible. My fellow patriots, Americans are in the business of doing the impossible, because with God, all things are possible. Many of you are tired. You're so used to a government that works only for the elites, that works only for the other side. And we have so many in the national parties of our country that believe that the key to saving our nation is cheapening our platform and going after these non-existent middle ground voters. My friends, there is no middle ground with Marxists. The key to saving...
No, there's no middle grounds with fascists like yourself.
Going after the disenfranchised man and woman in our country. The people who don't even bother to vote because it's been proven to them time and time again that the government...
There is a middle ground with Marxists, and it's fucking Joe Biden, apparently.
The linemen, the construction workers, the welders, the people that actually make our economy run. What do they care about? What do we care about? We care about dining room politics. What actually affects your family as you gather together around the kitchen table. These people care about raising their families in peace and prosperity. In an economy that's so strong you could do it on a single income. These people don't want defunded police. They want a funded police. They want safety.
I want to return to the policies that provided safety.
They don't want to send our sons and daughters to fight in some foreign...
Allowing people to live on a one-income family.
And open. But my friends, I'm telling you, the elites in our country, and I've seen them in Washington, they are afraid. And they're acting desperate. That's why you see so many crazy things coming out of Washington.
How you doing lines off Susan Collins and go into wrinkles? Her wrinkles would suck all the fucking cocaine in.
They called mothers who went and spoke at school boards domestic terrorists.
Oh my God.
When they started coming for our children, they started coming for our freedoms. That's when the Americans leaned in. That's when we said, we will get even louder and we will fight even harder because this nation is worth saving. When the people forsook the establishments...
I don't know. We might just need to flush it. Flush the baby with the bathwater.
We showed just how united this country can be. My friend, the quote that I think is so powerful.
How is Matt Gaetz even still in Congress?
And it's that in the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man. And
hey, is this motherfucker even going to talk about the lingerie scandal? That's what I came for.
His mission is successful. Then the timid joined him because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. My friends, we are in the beginning of a change. And
I wanted to hear how you liked wearing panties,
bury our
sir.
heads in the sand and say, oh, I don't like politics. It's too dirty. It's too ugly. It's too bad. And I don't blame you. Or we can decide that God chose us to live in this time. And just like Queen Esther, we were chosen for such a time as this. My friends, we were not cursed to live in uninteresting times. If you put America First patriots...
Ain't that the truth?
If we put Donald Trump back in command in the White House...
Why would anyone do that?
Our founding fathers, we will investigate Anthony Fauci and send him to jail for lying to Congress. We will restore the Second Amendment by repealing the National Firearms Act. We will secure our borders.
Ain't nothing wrong with wearing bras. I don't give a shit.
Impeach Joe Biden for his dereliction.
We were talking about how good the hoops look good on him.
Thank you all so much.
We do indeed. We do indeed live in interesting times, don't we?
Friends, may God bless you. May God bless Donald Trump.
How many times did he say God? I guess the only response that we were going to get, I was hoping he was going to bring it up in the speech, but the response that we got was, I guess the left thinks goofy vacation photos during a game on a cruise taken way before I ran for Congress is going to somehow hurt me. They're running out of things to throw at me. Share your most embarrassing vacay pics in the replies. Interesting. He wants me to share my best vacation pics in the replies. Hold on. A picture have I got? This would probably be a picture from a concert or something. I don't know. It's hard for me to think of. My best vacation pic. I've never really I've taken vacation from jobs. I've never taken I've never gone like a week to the beach or something. I'm like a weekend trip kind of guy. I go to Atlanta for a couple of days. I go to Nashville for a couple. I don't have any vacation pictures to share with Madison Cawthorn. This is the Texas National Guard who drowned trying to rescue migrants at the southern border. I don't think he drowned. He's missing. And I don't think he was trying to rescue migrants, to be honest. Did I leave the thread? I wanted people's vacation photos. Oh, here's Madison Cawthorn's vacation photo from when he visited the Eagle's Nest. The vacation house of the Fuhrer. Seeing the Eagle's Nest has been on my bucket list for a while. That is exactly why I came to the replies. Yep. I was going to try to find a vacation photo of me. That was better. That was much better. All right, guys. Do you remember when Florida rejected those math textbooks? They rejected like over 50% of the math textbooks because of claims of critical race theory. The Florida Department of Education has now released 2 examples that it says back up its rejection of dozens of math textbooks because they contain questions and exercises based on Common Core or critical race theory. They did not identify which textbooks the examples come from, but one appears to be from an advanced high school algebra or statistics textbook and begins with the phrase, "What, me, racist?" As students work with data reported by an online test that researchers say uncovers hidden attitudes toward different races. The other appears to come from a teacher's guide to a kindergarten or first grade textbook. The lesson is entitled Social and Emotional Learning, Building Student Agency. Students work together as they put the numbers 1 to 5 in proper order so they can build proficiency with social awareness as they practice with empathizing with classmates. State rejected more than 50 math textbooks, about 40% of those submitted. I'm sorry, it was 40%, not 50. It was 50 math textbooks. Despite the state's approval, under Florida law, individual districts can still buy the text if at least half of their book spending is on approved material. It seems some publishers attempted to slap a coat of paint on an old house built on the foundation of Common Core and indoctrinating concepts like race essentialism, especially bizarrely for elementary school students. Weird. I didn't see any examples of that. That was according to Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Florida Democratic Party Chair Manny Diaz, a former Miami mayor, said in a statement that Florida has long had a system for picking appropriate books, but is being politicized by the DeSantis administration. Let me take a wild guess at why they might want to do that. I'm going to read from the Tallahassee Democrat. He has this neat little story about how, as the DeSantis administration rejects textbooks, only one publisher is allowed for K through 5 math classes in Florida. We end up with just one publisher. Might this publisher have some connection to GOP politics? Accelerate Learning's website includes a diversity statement. Our nation's black communities have long faced the repeated harmful effects of systematic racism within the justice and education system. Historically, when Florida school districts reevaluate which math instructional materials they will use, they have had more than one publisher to choose from. Now, the only publisher approved by Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida Department of Education for K through 5 mathematics is Accelerate Learning, a company out of Houston, Texas. Subject area as large as mathematics for grades K through 5, it is unusual for there only to be one publisher to choose from, said Billy Epting, an assistant superintendent for academic services for Leon County Schools. Florida Department of Education rejected more than 50 mathematics textbooks for failing to meet Florida's new learning standards or because they contain prohibited topics that included references to critical race theory. There are two more publisher options for accelerated math: McGraw-Hill and Savas Learning Company, formerly known as Pearson. DOE said more than half of the textbooks being disallowed incorporated prohibited topics or unsolicited strategies. According to the Accelerate Learning's website, the math book for Florida was built from the ground up to Florida best by practicing educators using the flexible 5E lesson model. I don't know what the fuck that is. Sounds like some marketing nonsense. K through 5 math books were also created in partnership with Rice University. DeSantis has taken a lead role nationally in Republican efforts to aggressively push back against liberal cultural values and what he calls woke indoctrination. A measure labeled individual freedom, also known as the Stop Woke Act, was passed during this year's legislative session and still waits for the governor's signature. Legislation prohibits any teaching that could make students feel they bear personal responsibility for historic wrongs because of their race, color, sex, or national origin. Accelerate Learning's website actually includes an undated diversity statement which says the company commits to hold more diversity training, examine current business and recruitment practices, and continue to be inclusive in all levels of the company. Sounds like they are practicing the critical race theory. Our nation's black communities have long faced the repeated harmful effects of systematic racism within the justice and education system. Yes, that's true. The only difference is this one has political connections to Ron DeSantis. The Carlyle Group, a global investment firm, acquired Accelerate Learning on December 20th of 2018. During that time, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin was the co-CEO of the firm. 25 years with the company, Youngkin resigned in 2020 to run for office in Virginia. The first thing Youngkin did as governor of Virginia was sign an executive order to end the use of inherently divisive concepts, including critical race theory, and restoring excellence in K-12 public education in the Commonwealth, a measure that's comparable to DeSantis' Stop Woke Act. It's twofold. It's them lining their own pockets with companies they're involved in, and it's an attack on education, which keeps people stupid and voting Republican. It's also able for them to attack education. They can privatize it. You've got more institutions. You can sell more books now, can't you? And boy, did Florida rush through the law last week, stripping Disney of its, what's it called? It had a municipality, basically. We have the local news hit from Florida on it. They talked to some experts about the constitutionality, if it was even constitutional, what Florida did to Disney.
Underway. Good evening, I'm Greg Wormuth.
I'm Vanessa Eccles. Governor DeSantis
What's up, Greg?
signed into law this afternoon, meaning Orange and Osceola counties are now preparing to
Hi,
take
Vanessa.
huge amounts of debt next year unless the process is stopped. Let's take you through how this happened. It started when Florida passed its parental rights in education law. Cast members, along with some state lawmakers, called on Disney to denounce the proposal. The measure.
You know what you're saying when you say, like, make Disney straight again? No, what that sounds like to me is like we want to go back to the days of Walt Disney being a virulent racist and shit. A hardcore misogynist, basically a Nazi.
Restricts discussions on gender identity and sexual orientation in Florida classrooms. Disney CEO Bob Chapek spoke out and criticized the measure on March 9th. The next day, the governor's team responded saying, quote, woke Disney is now echoing Democrat propaganda and falling for the corporate media's phony hysteria. Nick Pepentonis is going in depth on this one tonight. Nick joins us live in studio with one way the company could put an
going in depth.
Executives would be saying that their free speech was trampled on.
Yeah, if they didn't want to negotiate with lawmakers, attorneys say Disney has a very strong First Amendment case in front of it. The government cannot retaliate just because someone or some company says something they don't like. And the attorneys say in a lot of these cases, the tape speaks for itself.
You're going to marshal your economic might to attack the parents of my state? We view that as a provocation, and we're going to fight back against that.
Governor DeSantis stopping in South Florida for a
What a fucking idiot. This dude is a complete fucking moron.
The special tax district that came under fire when the company spoke in opposition to a law targeting talk of gender and sexuality in the state's schools.
They're talking about their intentional agenda to inject sexuality in the programming that's provided to our youngest kids.
Republicans continuing to argue the change damages Disney more than anyone or anything else.
Certainly the debt obligations of Reedy Creek passed, but so do the revenues.
Seemingly ignoring the fact that Reedy Creek is an extra layer of taxes that Disney effectively imposes on itself, revenue the county legally can't get back.
You're literally taking $163 million a year of taxes that Disney pays to Reedy Creek and wiping it down to zero.
County, state, and company officials will now begin 15 months of negotiations, the two counties having to figure out how to shoulder Reedy Creek's expenses and debt.
I don't see how Orange County doesn't raise property taxes by 20 to 25%.
25%.
That's what Orange County would probably have to do to cover this financial situation.
There are ways of avoiding this, many expecting Disney lobbyists to work with lawmakers on a new agreement in January, preserving Reedy Creek and avoiding the hit to taxpayers. But attorneys say the company has a more forceful option.
Do they have a First Amendment case in front of them?
Absolutely, yes.
Can you explain that a little bit further?
The governor's actions were, in Disney's standpoint, I'm sure it's...
The anti-cancel culture people pulled the cancel culture on Disney because of Disney's free speech. The free speech of their executives, they retaliate against the company. These people hate the fucking Constitution. Right-wingers are such fucking hypocrites.
It's going to be clearly in retaliation for Disney's exercise of their First Amendment rights.
Once the government provides a benefit, that benefit can't be taken away in a way that is unconstitutional.
Whether the company uses that option is anyone's guess.
This isn't
and
just
fuck Walt Disney.
Clearly a political issue, and Disney will have to weigh the politics and not just the legalities.
And so the question now is, how would the state defend itself against a lawsuit like this?
You're hearing a lot of these comments already from some of these lawmakers. Essentially, they want to argue.
And it's like fucking Disney is highly litigious, so I can't imagine they wouldn't explore every single legal avenue they have. So I would expect a lawsuit to be coming, more likely than not.
That the issue in front of them with Disney is about good governance and proper oversight of this district that's 55 years old, not retaliation.
Interesting. We'll see how this plays out, but that could be one part of the defense that Disney tries to do to try to salvage what they currently have.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
What the what? Man, that one switched over on me awfully fast. Well, let's hear what Ben Shapiro has to say about woke companies. Woke, that's their new buzzword. Woke, everything's fucking woke.
I am the most free market person on the right. I'm an
Obviously not.
Free market person. I don't believe that generally the government should crack down on the operations of businesses. I think more freedom for businesses are good. I think that lower taxes for business are good for the economy of Florida.
But he's getting ready to hit you with a but. He's got a caveat. But what Ron DeSantis did in Florida makes me violate all my principles that I get up here and say to you every fucking day, because I actually have no principles, no ethics, or anything I believe in. It is whatever maintains the status quo, keeps the Republicans in power. That is what I shill for, Ben Shapiro.
For the company, for the economy of the United States. However, corporations have to stand up for their own free market bona fides. And they have to not become tools of the people who wish to destroy freedom in this country on behalf of leftist groupthink. If you decide to just become a woke corporation that...
What he just said was, I want corporations to have free speech as long as they agree with me. But once they start spouting off liberal nonsense, we want to punish corporations. He literally just said that, and people fall for his nonsense.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Does the bidding of your Democratic taskmasters, don't be surprised when you get clocked with a legislative 2x4. F around and find out. F around and
wow.
Disney decided that it was going to inject itself into social politics in the state of Florida. It decided that it was going to try to use its massive corporate power in the state of Florida. It employs tens of thousands of people here. That is going to try to use that power in order to cudgel the state government of Florida to do the bidding of executives in New York and Burbank, California. And instead, what it is finding out right now is that the people of Florida are not up for it.
Fuck off. Yeah, apparently it's been a woke world after all. This is something I saw Benny Johnson share out.
Boys and girls, welcome to It's a Woke World.
Wow. In cooperation with the Chinese Communist Party. Reimagine tomorrow. You see Camp Re-Education on your left. I'm not understanding the park entrance over here has everybody. Indigenous person gets in for $209. Person of color gets in for $209. I was looking for like a white person was getting charged like $10,000 or some shit. We've got the Oppression Hall of Fame over here. Kaepernick, LeBron James, fuck. God, are they still harping on what fucking, what was her name? She was so badass. That runner from the Olympics. Coming up like, oh, we got Obama in the Oval Office. He just had his feet up on the desk. I don't know what that was about.
Must be the authors and finishers.
It's a world of power, a world of fears, and we work long days.
Now we're seeing a factory putting together Mickey Mouse toys. There is a point to be had there.
It's a world called.
You want to go back to the beginning? We can. Because there's so much that I'm not piecing together here.
It's a woke world.
Somebody put a lot of fucking time into this. The Wokeness Crusade, word salad, something.
It's a world of privilege and votes
All whites are racist. No, see, it says racist whites, 209. It didn't charge them any extra to get in the park. They just gotta point out that you're a racist white person when you go in. I forget her name, the runner. She was so awesome. That's who that is. I don't know who. Is that Joy Reid on NBC? I feel like that's that one MSNBC contributor, and that's like Joy Reid on NBC, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, we live in a crazy world where somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a elected representative, and people like get their news from Alex Jones and believe that's a fucking crazy world to me. People listen to Joe Rogan and think they're informed. It's fucking insane.
If destruction be our lot, we ourselves must be the authors and finishers.
It's a world of power, a world of fears, and we work long days to make souvenirs. All the millions of dollars and the weakers.
But that wait, don't they want us to work all day to make souvenirs? Isn't that the right? They want us to slave away and be their menial wage slaves. That's literally what they want. You see the Uyghur labor camp in the background. As if they give a shit. As if they give a shit about a Muslim population unless they can use it to bash wokeism or whatever the fuck. I don't know what they were making fun of with Mulan there. There were Black Lives Matter posters on Snow White's castle. Cinderella's castle, whatever the fuck it is. Got little Mexican kids jumping over a wall. God damn. Oh, now we're going through a burned down city because Antifa burnt down the city. We're seeing the Black Lives Matter murals. People with Molotovs. None of those signs seem offensive to me.
Call them all a bunch of communists.
And so then fucking Walt Disney statue falls down at the end. That's weird. Now are we actually hearing from Walt Disney?
Call them all a bunch of communists, and I believe they are.
One of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. This is the meme from Politzoid. That's the meme makers.
Well, sir, you're an idiot and you are easily amused.
A lot of these meme makers, and clearly this one is professionally made, one of the best things you'll ever see on the internet. A lot of these meme makers use pseudonyms because they have to, they work in these professions, so they have to remain anonymous. Anyway, huge shout out to you, man. Disney has gone utterly woke. Disney, which their entire...
It is the opposite. I portray myself as right-wing to my clients.
For small children, Disney has gone woke and is siding against children and against the safety of children and going fully political with the Parents Protection Act, coming out against the Parents Protection Act inside of the state of Florida and bowing and bending the knee to the woke mob. So what would woke Disney look like? You see it right here in this incredible video. Not a good world. You don't want to live in this world. It's a woke world. It's time to change that.
So the bill that they were actually opposing was the Don't Say Gay bill. Right? That's opposing that bill is what got Disney stripped of their status in Florida. And this is part of the right-wing campaign to paint everybody on the left as a groomer, as grooming children. I've been called it so many times on Twitter in the last 2 weeks, it's not even fucking funny. Apparently, there was a Republican in Michigan that decided to say some shit about one of their political opponents. Yeah, let's go, Brandon. You know, you can't just throw around the word groomer. You can't throw that around. You guys are going to learn the fucking hard way. I've already got like 5 people banned from fucking Twitter for calling me that. The cool thing about me is like I've never been around children any time in my life. I fucking hate children. Fuck kids. No, don't fuck kids. Not literally, just figuratively. Don't fuck kids. That'd be bad. Don't fuck kids. There's a Michigan state senator who was slandered by a Republican. And she took to the floor of the Michigan State Senate to voice her displeasure with the bullshit coming from the right wing right now. And I applaud this woman.
I didn't expect to wake up yesterday to the news that the senator from the 22nd district had overnight accused me by name of grooming and sexualizing children in an email fundraising for herself. So I sat on it for a while wondering why me. And then I realized, because I am the biggest threat to your hollow, hateful scheme. Because you can't claim that you are targeting marginalized kids in the name of, quote, parental rights if another parent is standing up to say no. So then what? Then you dehumanize and marginalize me. You say that I'm one of them. You say she's a groomer. She supports pedophilia. She wants children to believe that they were responsible for slavery and to feel bad about themselves because they're white. Well, here's a little bit of background about who I really am. Growing up, my family was very active in our church. I sang in the choir. My mom taught CCD. One day, our priest called a meeting with my mom and told her that she was not living up to the church's expectations and that she was disappointing. My mom asked why. Among other reasons, she was told it was because she was divorced and because the priest didn't see her at Mass every Sunday. So where was my mom on Sundays? She was at the soup kitchen with me. My mom taught me at a very young age that Christianity and faith was about being part of a community, about recognizing our privilege and blessings and doing what we can to be of service to others, especially people who are marginalized, targeted, and who had less, often unfairly. I learned that service was far more important than performative nonsense like being seen in the same pew every Sunday or writing Christian in your Twitter bio and using that as a shield to target and marginalize already marginalized people. I also stand on the shoulders of people like Father Ted Hesburgh, the longtime president of the University of Notre Dame, who was active in the civil rights movement, who recognized his power and privilege as a white man, a faith leader, and the head of an influential and well-respected institution, and who saw black people in this country being targeted and discriminated against and beaten, and reached out to lock arms with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he was alive, when it was unpopular and risky, and marching alongside them to say, "We've got you," to offer protection and service and allyship to try to right the wrongs and fix injustice in the world. So who am I? I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom who knows that the very notion that learning about slavery or redlining or systemic racism somehow means that children are being taught to feel bad or hate themselves because they are white is absolute nonsense.
Nonsense.
No child alive today is responsible for slavery. No one in this room is responsible for slavery. But each and every single one of us bears responsibility for writing the next chapter of history. Each and every single one of us decides what happens next and how we respond to history and the world around us. We are not responsible for the past. We also cannot change the past. We can't pretend that it didn't happen.
We are responsible for the benefits that we receive from the structures of the past. my great grandfather was getting land given to him by the federal government while black people were still in bondage, and that has an effect on society today. We have to be aware of that. We can't just let that go.
Happen or deny people their very right to exist. I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom. I want my daughter to know that she is loved, supported, and seen for whoever she becomes. I want her to be curious, empathetic, and kind. People who are different are not the reason that our roads are in bad shape after decades of disinvestment, or that healthcare costs are too high, or that teachers are leaving the profession. I want
Goddamn right.
child in this state to feel seen, heard, and supported, not marginalized and targeted because they are not straight, white, and Christian. We cannot let hateful people tell you otherwise, to scapegoat and deflect from the fact that they are not doing anything to fix the real issues that impact people's lives. And I know that hate will only win if people like me stand by and let it happen. So I want to be very clear right now. Call me whatever you want. I hope you brought in a few dollars. I hope it made you sleep good last night. I know who I am. I know what faith and service means and what it calls for in this moment. We will not let hate win.
Is Democratic Senator from Michigan, Mallory McMorrow. Good on you, Senator Morrow. You are amazing. I hope we hear more from you. You guys like Twitter? They just recently let me back on. Apparently, Elon Musk gets a sit down with Twitter executives, and they are indeed talking about his takeover bid. Elon Musk's offer to buy Twitter might actually be one of the company can't refuse. The man is reportedly meeting with executives this weekend to seriously discuss his takeover proposal. The Wall Street Journal reports that both sides are set to meet Sunday to get into the weeds of his $43 billion bid. I still don't think anything comes of it. He put forward publicly, for which he also just announced he got legit financing in the amount of $46.5 billion to actually make it happen. Per the Wall Street Journal, Twitter is receptive and negotiating a deal, or at the very least, hearing Elon out and considering a final price tag, even though Elon Musk says he won't budge on $54.20 a share. More on the table, potentially, than just dough. Wall Street Journal says Twitter honchos are mulling over a number of factors, including a final valuation of what they think the Bird app is worth, the possibility of inviting other bidders, and maybe even insisting on Elon covering breakup costs if the would-be deal falls apart. As for why Twitter would even want to entertain this, Reuters reports they're under pressure from shareholders who want to get paid out. Elon reportedly met with a select number of bigwig shareholders this past week to make his pitch on why Twitter would be better in his hands. Now, I said it. Elon Musk actually takes over Twitter, and he wants to be a champion of free speech. You make it an open source platform. He ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do that. Will never happen. Among the things he reportedly wants to change beyond his free speech objections is for allowing longer tweets and pivoting away ads. Well, shareholders aren't going to like that. He also reportedly told several of them that you'll never reach my share price on your own. Twitter's closing price on Friday was $48.93. Reuters says some shareholders have expressed to leadership that not only should they talk to Elon and fill him out, but more importantly, see if they can finagle a larger offer. Time will tell if Elon's willing to spend a bit more to take Twitter private, but he almost had folks thinking he was ditching this whole endeavor, tweeting moving on Sunday, later clarifying that he meant teasing Bill Gates regarding climate change. Tell him, Porg! Right-wingers are morons. The former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, has thoughts on why the left is freaking out over Elon Musk. Oh, I'm sorry. Panicked. Panicked is the word he used. Take it away, Newt.
Now, they're so horrified by it, they elected to do a poison pill to diminish the value of the stock to stop it, but I'm sure Elon Musk has got another move. In fact, he tweeted this out over the weekend. Wow. With Jack departing Dorsey, the Twitter board collectively owns almost no shares. Objectively, their economic interests are simply not aligned with the shareholders. It seems informally the shareholders are for this move. And another guy that's for this move is this venture capitalist firm called Kraft Ventures, David Sachs. He said simply, if the
venture capitalists. That's exactly who we want to promote and listen to.
Then there'll be some reason why he won't be able to. We're about to find out how deep the corruption goes. I guess you can agree with that.
Well, yeah, look, and I think we have to understand how corrupt the system has become. You have a bunch of people who protect each other, who invest in each other. You have a handful of very...
Newt Gingrich don't even know what a fucking Twitter is. He thought it was something he did to one of his many wives or mistresses.
Very, very wealthy investors who control dozens and dozens of boards, and a large part of the move of the big boards towards woke left-wing policies has been a function of this handful of investors who...
Well, you've got to remember, their goal is not to tell the truth or give an honest assessment of what is going on. Their goal is just to rile up fucking old people. Old racist assholes. That's all. That's their target audience. Rile them up with whatever you can say. Doesn't have to have any relation to reality.
Pick their people to serve on these boards. Musk would be a genuine threat, not just to Twitter, but he'd be a threat to Facebook, he'd be a threat to Google, because he would open up and allow people to freely be involved in a dialogue, and he would attract, I think, a huge audience almost overnight. So, again, every time he's...
Attract a huge audience. What, more people are going to join Twitter if Elon Musk buys it? Bullshit.
And my guess is, in the end, he'll fight his way through.
Do you even know what Twitter does, sir?
He'll make it a very interesting, dynamic place, which the left will hate. I mean, they don't want interesting dynamic. They want people robotically repeating what they're told to say.
That is literally what Fox News is. That is literally what Fox News is. Jesus Christ.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Let's stick with Fox News, shall we? Let's talk about this pastor. Remember, we had the video a couple of weeks, or no, it was like a week ago. There was a Christian group on a flight, and they broke out in song. The video went viral. There was a dude sitting in the aisle that he did not look comfortable with what was going on. I have a picture of it. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. This happened the other day. I'm definitely talking about this guy who does not look happy. Does not look happy to be listening to Christian music on this flight. That dude's like, let me annoy the shit out of you. Nope, ain't having it. Christian pastor ripped by Ilhan Omar for singing on plane says his focus wasn't political. The pastor of the Christian group that went viral when Representative Ilhan Omar, that's not the reason they went viral. Everybody was bitching about these people. Representative Ilhan Omar criticized him for singing worship songs on a plane. They were on a plane ride back from helping Ukrainian refugees, apparently. Jack Jins Jr., an Australian-born pastor whose Philadelphia-based Kingdom Realm Ministries joined other church groups earlier this month in offering humanitarian aid to Ukrainians, posted a TikTok video of the plane incident on April 9th. He told the Christian Post that he didn't mean to stir anything up or get entangled in politics. Omar tweeted out Jensen's video a week later during Easter weekend, writing, "I think my family and I should have a prayer session next time I'm on a plane. How do you think it will end?" Which is a very salient comment, very pertinent comment, because it wouldn't end well for them. Comment sparked backlash from many Republicans who attacked her for what they suggested was anti-Christian bigotry. Really? Really? You really didn't get the point, did you, you stupid fucks? God damn, right-wingers are morons. Fuck! It was actually just a post to share with our friends and encourage our friends that have been following our journey. When Omar posted that, I just looked at it and I didn't really give it too much thought. I didn't really enter into any political debate. For us, we just came to share the love of our God. We came just to reveal to people that Jesus loves them so much, and that's our focus. Our focus wasn't a political agenda at all. But it is. You were proselytizing, you stupid fucks. Jens explained how the worship team obtained permission from both the air host and the pilot to sing the songs on the commercial flight out of Poland, and that they would not have done so without it. That doesn't make it any better. It didn't seem like the passengers were too into it. Does this guy look like he is amused with your stupid little song? Oh, shit. Jens and his group met with criticism from some on social media after Omar singled them out, but he noted that he has seen religious displays on other flights he has been on. It happens quite often. Yeah, I'm sure like you and your little church groups do stupid shit like that. But if Ilhan Omar's family were to do a prayer, you guys would be screaming bloody murder and trying to get the air marshal to land the plane. I know it for a fucking fact. All right, I know I took some flack before, so I'm gonna play a content warning before this one. This is a heartwarming video, and it made me cry. It made me cry earlier. Fuck, it made me cry. Here are some shelter dogs finding out they just got adopted. I know some people, they hate seeing dogs in shelters, and I totally understand, but they're getting ready to go to their forever home. They look so fucking happy. And I wanted to play the video. It really did make me cry earlier. Oh, look how happy he is. Wiggles, Wiggles, you're going to get to go to your new home. Oh, I wonder why they call you Wiggles. Could be because he's wiggling all over the place. Look at him. He's so happy. Oh, sweet baby. Like, seriously, all there is in my life, like, I don't care about anything in terms of monetary value of possessions. If I was to get a little money to my name, I would seriously, like, fucking run an animal rescue or something.
Is this for you? Are you gonna get to be a
Look how fucking gorgeous. That's a husky, right? That is a absolutely gorgeous dog. And this is a rescue that apparently goes to a lot of like high kill shelters and picks up animals. I can't even imagine that husky would have a hard time getting adopted. Rescue puppies from puppy mills and stuff.
Are at high volume kill shelters that are usually
Oh. Buster, look at you, dude. You're a chunky boy.
Absolutely loved it. I get to work with the dogs, I get to spend time with the dogs, and then I get to socialize them, get them ready for adoption, and then you get to see the
Oh, look at that curly dude. He was absolutely gorgeous.
the best part of the job. You can see it on their face the first time that they're seeing that dog.
And also, I'm a big fan of rescues.
Fall in love with them, and then you just know that that dog is going to be a part of the family.
I see a cat that needs a home. I probably shouldn't have 3 cats. I don't know if I'm allowed to have the third one, but he needed a home, and his name was Maynard. That meant he wanted to come and live with me.
Most dogs will continue to look for their owner in the cage, and the worst part
Oh.
hold the dog at the front door as they're watching the owner leave. A lot of people say that dogs understand us or they understand what we're saying. I don't know.
Seriously, adopt.
Me sitting in the cage,
Rescue babies.
telling them that it's gonna be okay. I can see the comfort in their eyes. I can see.
Oh, and I want to hug this dude. I want to go buy him a beer, whatever he's drinking, whatever he's smoking. I want to buy it for him.
That's when the hold period comes off, and I'm able
He deserves all the fucking love for what he's doing.
to not fall in love with these dogs. You see a dog that
I've fallen in love with him. I want to hug all of them. Every single one of them.
finally get its forever family.
I haven't seen a baby that I wouldn't just fucking lick all over my face yet. Oh, that was precious. I wanted to hold Wiggles so bad. I'm like, oh, come here, Wiggles. Wiggle in my lap. All right, if you're watching on Twitch or heading over to Echoplex Media, it is the Plex podcast recording part of the show. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freegan. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.